We're going to spend a few moments on a statement that our town council, with the help of Mr. Bointsey, put together on the recent incidents concerning the death of George Floyd, combined with all the racial inequities that have become even more apparent through COVID-19. And it's gut-wrenching. We're deeply sorry for the pain the Black and Brown members of our Chapel Hill, Carrboro, and Orange County communities are experiencing. And please know that we are listening and you have our full support. We also share the growing concern in our entire community about how this is playing out across our nation. In our town, we have a long history of supporting peaceful dialogue when grappling with difficult issues. We urge everyone to be respectful of one another so that we can remain focused on the important issues at hand and move forward together. Tonight, the Chapel Hill Town Council is issuing a joint statement highlighting the need to continue our work to eliminate racial bias and institutional racism. The statement also reiterates the commitment of the Chapel Hill Town Council, the Chapel Hill Police Department, and all members of our town staff to fostering trust, respect, human dignity, and equality for everyone. In recent months, history has repeated itself as African Americans have yet again suffered untimely deaths. When we think of George Floyd, a Black man in Minneapolis who suffocated beneath the knee of a white police officer as he lay on the ground with his hands cuffed behind his back, we recall too many Black lives unjustly taken at the hands of police officers, including Breonna Taylor, Terrence Crutcher, Michael Brown, Eric Gardner, and Tina Rice.
When we think of Ahmaud Arbery out for a jog in his South Georgia neighborhood, chased, corralled, and gunned down by armed white residents and trucks, how can we help but recall the lynching of Emmett Till in Mississippi in 1955, or of Manly McCauley here in Orange County in 1898? And we know there have been thousands of others killed just as unjustly and senselessly over the course of our history.
These are not disconnected, isolated incidents of senseless violence against Black and Brown Americans. Rather, they are connected by racism and the ongoing devaluation of Black and Brown bodies and lives.
In recognition of history repeating itself yet again, and the need to redress the systems of power, positions of authority, and the treatment of people of color, we recognize the need to critically examine the role of racial bias and institutional racism in our community. We stand for justice and for the equitable treatment of Black and Brown people.
This is taking place in the context of a global pandemic that has further exposed our country's inequalities. Nationally, Blacks are dying at rates that are nearly double their proportion of the population.
Racial and ethnic disparities in COVID-19 infection and death are the result of pre-pandemic realities and demonstrate a legacy of structural discrimination that has limited access to healthcare, safe housing, and economic opportunity for people of color. The history of inequity repeats itself.
It is heartening that our community has already collaborated in getting critical assistance to our most vulnerable. For example, by providing temporary housing assistance and distributing food and face masks. However, these extraordinary times require us to do even more to dismantle the structural racism and poverty which have gripped our society since before the founding of our country.
We are in desperate, challenging times that require us to band together as a nation and as a community. The town of Chapel Hill is deeply committed to fostering trust, respect, human dignity, and equality. As representatives of local government, we are committed to ensuring public safety, public health, and a community in which all people are free to thrive and to live their lives without fear. Thank you.
Thank you all. Even in Chapel Hill, where we've been working hard to be better, we still have work to do. We urge everyone to help bring about necessary change by participating in local government, But really, you need to get out and vote. You need to vote people into office who share the values of dignity and respect for all people in our country. Our national leaders, our local leaders, our state leaders, we need to have commitment to racial justice and a determination to make meaningful change. And I want to say how proud I am of our community for showing up to protest in a peaceful manner today, for being out there, for standing up. And I hope that everyone out there will encourage everyone else to get out the vote and get people into office who will help make the changes we so desperately need. I also want to say thank you to Councilmember Alan Boyncey for his hard work to craft the statement and to bring it forward. And I want to say thank you to our town manager, our police chief, and everyone who worked really hard today, and to the coordinators of the protests. They reached out to us to work together, to show up, to stand up, and to speak up for the injustices that have been out there. Thank you. Okay.
Hey, I'm sorry, if I may, just
Alan,
say a few things. So I first off want to thank my council colleagues for joining me and writing the statement and then delivering the statement. I think it's important that not just it's important that it's not just me speaking as a Black man. It's important that all of us are speaking, white folks, Asian Americans, that we're all speaking with one voice and speaking against inequality and violence. So I just want to thank my council colleagues in joining me tonight in making this statement. I also want to thank all the advocates out there who are pushing for change. It's not easy, and I appreciate the folks that came out today. We need this to be sustained. So it can't be a one-off. It can't be a one month off. It's got to be a sustained effort, and I'm looking forward to working with everyone to see through the change that we need.
Stand together, Alan.